This is the Italian Citizenship Podcast, hosted by Marco Permunian and Rafael Di Furia.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Italian Citizenship Podcast, presented by ItalianCitizenshipAssistance.com. I am Rafael Di Furia, back again with Italian attorney Marco Permunian. How are you doing, Marco?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm doing well. Today, we are back to talk a little bit about the subject of reacquisition of Italian citizenship. We've talked about before the idea that people have lost their citizenship for various reasons. But today we wanted to talk about the process for those people who have lost their citizenship but would like to get their status back. So Marco, let's start from the beginning, as always. Where would the first place be that a person would have to start who would like to get their Italian citizenship back?
Of course, we are referring to those people who became foreign citizens, so people who were born in Italy and had Italian citizenship, or people who, even if they were not born in Italy, people who had Italian citizenship, but then at some point they lost it. And they lost it because they became naturalized in a foreign country. So the Italian citizenship law was very clear prior to 1992 and basically dictated that a person who voluntarily became a citizen of another country lost permanently their Italian citizenship. But there is a way for those people to get it back. So these people that lost their Italian citizenship now have the opportunity to get it back, and they can start a process which is not a super complicated process, but has a downside, if you will, which is that these people have to relocate to Italy for a certain number of months. And more specifically, but we can talk about this in a second, for as long as the reacquisition process takes. The process can be done in two different ways. You can either relocate to Italy, not with the purpose of reacquiring your Italian citizenship, or maybe you're not aware of it. So you are someone who had Italian citizenship, who lost Italian citizenship and relocates to Italy just on a visa. So you decide to get a visa, you go to Italy, and under Italian law, after you have spent 1 year in Italy, you get your Italian citizenship back automatically. So in this specific case, in this specific option, which I would call option 2 because that's the less common option, you get citizenship back automatically after having resided in Italy on a visa for 1 year. And that can be, the visa, it can be any visa, so student visa or an elective residency visa or a work visa. The more common option is what I call option 1, which is the case of a person who relocates to Italy with the purpose of applying for reacquisition of citizenship. So that person knows that they lost Italian citizenship and that the only way for them to get it back is to relocate to Italy. So those people, they have to sign a statement at the Italian consulate prior to relocating to Italy, in which they declare their intention to reestablishing their residency in Italy with the purpose of getting their Italian citizenship back. So after they meet with the consulate, they have 1 year to relocate to Italy. So they can relocate to Italy, so start their relocation process anytime within 1 year from when they meet with the consulate. Once they arrive in Italy, they have to go through another process in Italy, which involves the establishment of residency, and then they have to visit the town hall, but they initiate this process. But these people can enter the country as tourists, so they don't need a visa. They don't need to get a visa prior to relocating to Italy, so they just go straight to Italy as tourists, they establish residency in Italy. They file the application for reacquisition of citizenship, and then they get a residency permit from within Italy, which will allow them to stay in Italy for the entire duration of the process. Now, this process can take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It depends. It depends on whether or not your paperwork is in order. It depends on the workload of the municipality that you're using to apply for reacquisition of citizenship. So on average, it takes, say, less than 6 months. And after this time that you have spent in Italy because you were given this residency permit because you started the reacquisition process, after this time, you become an Italian citizen and you apply for your Italian passport.
But of course, because this is a legal process, I am assuming that, of course, you'll need some documents. What would the documents be that you would need to gather for this process?
The documents that you need are the documents that show basically the facts on which you base your claim for Italian citizenship. And more specifically, you have to present your own birth certificate showing that you were born in Italy, even if, just for sake of clarity, this process doesn't necessarily apply only to people who were born in Italy, but rather to people who had Italian citizenship, even if they were born in another country. But generally, the person who goes through this process is someone who was born in Italy and left Italy at some point. But the birth certificate is necessary, which you get from Italy if you were born in Italy. You also need all of your personal vital record documents, such as your marriage record, your divorce records if you are divorced, and more importantly, you need your naturalization records to show that you lost your Italian citizenship prior to 1992, because this is something that we haven't said in this video, but it's kind of we kind of implicitly said it, but if you acquired a foreign citizenship after 1992, you didn't lose your Italian citizenship. So the people who go through this process are the people who got a foreign citizenship prior to 1992, so prior to when Italy allowed dual citizenship. So the naturalization records, all of the foreign documents need to be translated and legalized. And once you have these documents, you can start the process in Italy.
And what is that process actually like? What does the person need to go through?
When you arrive in Italy, you have to, first of all, you have to have an apartment or a house, a property.
A place where you can make legal residence.
Exactly, which can be a property that you own or a property that you rent. But if you don't have like a deed for the property, you need to have at least a lease agreement. You go to the town hall, because this process is done at the town hall, and you can do it at any Italian municipality, so not necessarily the municipality where you were either born or where your parents were from or where you resided prior to moving to the US. You can do it in any municipality, any of the 8,000 roughly municipalities that we have in Italy. You go to the town hall, at the citizenship office. Actually, you go to the residency office first to establish residency. So formally establishing residency in Italy, that's the prerequisite. And you are allowed to do so because you are in Italy with the purpose of reestablishing residency to apply for citizenship. There's a local police verification, like for anyone who establishes residency in Italy. So the local police will actually show up at the house to see if you really reside there. And this happens within 45 days from when you arrived in Italy. After your residency is confirmed, you can start the citizenship application process. So you present all your documents to the town hall, along with the statement that you signed at the consulate prior to relocating to Italy. And the town hall, the city hall, starts processing your citizenship application. And this process can take a few months, up to 1 year. Normally it's just a couple of months. they have to review the paperwork that you submit. Like we said before, the processing time depends on a variety of factors, including the workload of the Italian municipality that you're using. And once you are granted your Italian citizenship, you can apply for your Italian passport. The citizenship is not granted retroactively. I just wanted to make this clear. So you become a citizen again from that moment forward.
Okay, I was going to ask you about this. If it's something that you resume, if it's like Jure Sanguinis, where you're basically getting that recognition of being a citizen from birth, but you're saying that's not the case, that you're becoming a new citizen all over again, even though you were previously a citizen.
Exactly. There is a gap. So there is a time in which you were not an Italian citizen and the situation doesn't change. So for that time window, from when you lost your Italian citizenship to when you got it back, you still, during that time, were not considered an Italian citizen.
Would that leave a person in any kind of specific situation legally, or would that have any potential repercussions of not having been a citizen during a particular point in time?
This is a good question, and a lot of my clients who contact Italian Citizenship Assistance, they're actually the children of someone who is a former Italian citizen, either someone who already got back their Italian citizenship or someone who is about to start the process to get their Italian citizenship reinstated. But the question that the children of these people ask me all the time is, because I don't qualify for citizenship by descent, because my parent became naturalized prior to my birth date, if my parent gets back their Italian citizenship, can I also become an Italian citizen? Now, the answer to this question is, in most cases, no. And by most cases, I mean, if the person was over 18 when the parent reacquired their Italian citizenship, that person still doesn't qualify for citizenship by descent, because it doesn't change the fact that the parent was still not an Italian citizen when that person was born. So in terms of citizenship by descent, citizenship is passed from parent to child. So the prerequisite for you to qualify for citizenship by descent is that your parent was an Italian citizen when you were born. And it goes without saying that if the person had become a foreign citizen, that person had lost their Italian citizenship. And if the loss of Italian citizenship happened prior to your birth, it means that you were not born to an Italian parent. And this situation doesn't change even if your parent then reacquires their Italian citizenship if you were over 18 when the reacquisition happened. So it doesn't change the fact that you were born to a non-Italian citizen, which means that your father or mother can go through the reacquisition process, but unfortunately you, who were born, say, in the US, cannot benefit from that.
This is starting to sound a little bit like what we had spoken about, that a person could be led into for citizenship by residency. Is this what you were referring to back in that episode?
Yeah, so basically, if you don't qualify for citizenship by descent because your parent was not an Italian citizen when you were born, like we said just a moment ago, if your parent reacquires their Italian citizenship, it doesn't change your situation, so you still don't qualify for citizenship by descent, which means that the only option for you, if you want to become an Italian citizen, is to apply, unless you want to get married to an Italian citizen.
I mean, that's not a bad option. I got to say, that's not a bad option right there.
So if you don't go with that option, you can apply for citizenship through residency. And like we said in the other episode, which was released last week or the week before, if a person is either the child or the grandchild of someone who was born in Italy, but if this person doesn't qualify for citizenship by descent, can get Italian citizenship through residency, and instead of waiting for 10 years like everybody else, that person can get Italian citizenship after having resided in Italy for 3 years only.
Just before we get to the last question, for a person that is getting Italian citizenship and reacquiring it, not the child of someone who would not be eligible for Italian citizenship by descent, but the actual person who was, in fact, born an Italian citizen, to get their Italian citizenship back, would it be required for them to have a language certificate saying that they actually do know Italian?
No. To apply for reacquisition of citizenship, you don't have to speak the language. And also there is no test or exam whatsoever. So it's just based on the documents that you show to support your claim and on the fact that you wish to reacquire your Italian citizenship. After all, it's the Italian law that provides this ability to get your Italian citizenship reinstated if you want to. It would be like discriminatory against people if the Italian law, now that it's possible to have dual citizenship, if it didn't allow people who lost their Italian citizenship when the law was different to get their Italian citizenship back. So it would be, I'd say, discriminatory against these people if they made the process, if the Italian government had made this process too difficult or complex, if a language test was involved or a cultural test or an exam, because we don't have to forget that most of these people that want to get their citizenship back are people who left Italy at a very young age, sometimes people who don't even speak Italian because they left Italy and went to America when they were 1 or 2 years old. And so it's a really great thing, I believe, that the Italian government allows these people to
definitely
get their citizenship back without having to speak the language.
I think it's an amazing opportunity and a beautiful thing that Italy welcomes back its people, like in more than just one way, more than just people getting Italian citizenship by descent. But I do have one last question. Once a person gets their Italian citizenship back and they've resided in Italy, is it necessary for them to remain living in Italy?
It is necessary for them to remain in Italy just for the time strictly necessary for them to gain their Italian citizenship back, if we are referring to what I called option 1. While in the option 2 that I described before, you would have to remain in Italy for 1 year. So in the first case, you have to remain in Italy for the time strictly necessary for the municipality to process your application, whereas in the option 2, you have to remain for 1 year. But in either case, after you're done with the process, after you have been granted your Italian citizenship, you can relocate back to the US if you're from the US and just live there and never go back to Italy and maintain your Italian citizenship. And it goes without saying, you can also transfer it to your children born after you became an Italian citizen again.
Anyway, I think we've covered a lot of ground here, and I think this will probably be a great place to wrap up. So thank you so much again for making yourself available to answer some of these questions about Italian citizenship. And of course, if you have any questions about Italian citizenship by descent, reacquisition, or through naturalization, of course, Marco and his team are available to assist you through these processes. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact them on their website, italiancitizenshipassistance.com/contact. And of course, if you have any questions, you can also, of course, leave them below this video and we may be able to answer them in a future episode of the Italian Citizenship Podcast presented by Italiancitizenshipassistance.com. Of course, I've been here again with Marco Permunian. I am Rafael Di Furia. And of course, if you would like to see more content about life in Italy and living in Italy, you can check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rafael Di Furia. But anyway, we will see you all next time. Thank you so much again for joining us. See ya.
See ya.